Hello everyone, how's it going, and welcome to today's Wild Rift video. In today's guide, we're going to be taking a look at the Shadow Reaper Kayn. Kayn is a flexible jungler that can fit many different roles. During the game, Kayn can gain stacks towards his passive, allowing him to choose between two separate forms. You could choose between an insanely fast and snowball assassin or a bruiser teamfight machine. These two forms work as two completely different champions, so deciding which one to go for will be crucial. Take a look through the build with Kayn. I've got two separate builds to show you today. The first one is going to be around the Shadow Assassin blue form build, and then I've also got the Rast build, which is the red form build. But first I want to show you the blue assassin build first. This is all around building as much damage as possible, as much armor penetration as possible, since in this form Kayn is super mobile and he's always looking to try and one-shot enemy champions. For the boost, I like to go for Gluttonous Greaves. You can also go for Boots of Dynamism. I just like the extra Omnivamp and the extra attack damage that you get from Gluttonous Greaves. You do get a little bit of armor penetration from the Boots of Dynamism, which does give you a little bit more early game power, but Gluttonous Greaves is a lot better for the scaling into the mid and late game when you actually get your form. Ghostblade, extremely cheap, very strong item. A lot of attack damage, the armor penetration is there. The momentum passive is the big thing though that helps Kayn a lot. Moving builds momentum, granting up to 40 movement speed at 100 stacks, and then attacking an enemy champion will then remove all the momentum, but you also gain that little bit of extra attack speed as well. This will just help Kayn move around the map so much quicker, whether you're looking for ganks, whether you're looking to try and go through walls to try and catch off enemies off guard. Just overall very strong, very cheap item. Dustblade as well as another great item, especially because of the Night Stalker passive. The first attack against an enemy champion deals 60 to 160 bonus physical damage and also slows them as well. This is really great for when Kayn's coming out of walls. He can auto attack a champion with his other abilities and do a lot of damage. And again, this item has a lot of attack damage and armor penetration. Serpent's Fang as well, again another great item. This item is mainly good when you're against a lot of shielding on the enemy team, since the Shield Weaver passive means that you'll be able to reduce any shields that come to an enemy champion's way. If you're not against any shielding, then you could definitely swap this out for another item like Guardian Angel can also be a great option since Kayn is very squishy. We do need a % armor penetration item, even though we do have a lot of flat plus armor penetration in this build. Percentage armor penetration is still very important, so Serrader's Grudge is going to be our choice for that. And also the Icy passive, the slow effect that we get from our abilities, again can help us out quite a lot to stay onto the enemy champion. And for our defensive item, we have Edge of Night. I say a defensive item, it has some defensive stats, but still gives you a lot of damage, the armor penetration. But the Annul passive is the big thing. Kayn always wants to go into melee range and try and use all his abilities on an enemy champion. So if you get caught by any abilities or anything like that, then it will be blocked by the shield. As for the runes, First Strike is a no-brainer. Again, as I mentioned already, you're coming out of walls, you're always going to be the first person to deal damage. Enemy champions are going to be so surprised when they see you coming from out of nowhere, so you can surprise enemy champions and you can deal a lot of damage with First Strike. Sudden Impact, you got loads of ways in which to be able to dash with your first ability, which is very powerful, giving you that extra armor penetration when you can auto attack and use your other abilities. Mark the Weak as well, allowing us to mark enemy champions so they can deal more damage from our combo. Again, just more damage. Eyeball Collector, again, being able to stack up damage over time when we get takedowns. And then the secondary rune is a bit flexible. I have Giant Slayer here, just in case you're against any tanks or any bruisers like to build a lot of health. You can go for like Coup de Grace if you want to deal damage to champions that are low on health. Or if you want more defensive option, you can still go for Overgrowth if you feel like you need a little bit more HP to get that little bit of survivability. But I really like Giant Slayer. Then obviously for the summer spells, we have Flash and Smite. And as for the Rast build, this is the red Kayn build. This is a lot more focused on, more bruiser, more healing build, and a little bit more tankiness as well. But as you can see, some of the items are still fairly similar. For the boots, you can go for defensive boots, whether they're armor boots or magic resist boots, both of them really good. Ghostblade is still a great item overall, so you still want to build this whether you're going red Kayn or blue Kayn. Black Cleaver is more there to just allow you to reduce the armor of enemy champions. Also just gives you a lot of great stats overall for a bruiser build. Sterex Gauge, again, a lot of maximum health. We're playing around this tank bruiser build with red Kayn, Rast Kayn, so this is really powerful. Serrated Grudge is still a good item. Again, we still need % armor penetration, and we still get the slow from the icy passive, which will help us out. Then Guardian Angel to keep us alive. And as for the runes, as you can see, they're pretty much the same. The only thing that I would change with the runes is instead of First Strike, we go for Conqueror instead. You heal a lot already from Ross Kayn, but Conqueror will help you with more healing and also more damage, so you can stay in fights longer. This is all the purpose. You know, Blue Kayn is all about trying to one-shot enemy champions and deal as much damage as possible. Ross Kayn is all about staying in fights for longer, using your crowd control from your second ability to be able to win team fights that way. The rest of the runes are pretty much the same, you know, Sudden Impact, Mark the Weak, and also Eyeball Collector. And then you have Overgrowth as your final rune. Since we're playing more Bruiser, we want to get that little bit extra HP with also Flash and Smite. But that's everything for the two builds. As I mentioned, I think that this build is a lot better, even if you're in a scenario where you don't know whether you want to go for Blue Kayn or Red Kayn. This is just the basic build that you want to go. And this build can still also work on Red Kayn if you need to. Now, let's head on to the abilities. First off, let's take a look at Kayn's passive, which is the Darken Scythe. So damaging ranged champions allows him to charge to his blue form, his Shadow Assassin form. And then damaging melee champions allows him to make charges towards the Darken Slayer form, which is the Rast form. And at full charges, Kayn can then permanently transform at the base. So whether you want to go for Shadow Assassin or Darken form, you need to make sure that you damage the right champions. For example, if you want to go for Shadow Assassin form, you want to go for range form, most of the time you're going to be looking to gank in the bot lane, since there will be ranged champions. But anywhere on the map that has ranged champions, you need to make sure you go there. Same with Darken form as well. You need to make sure that you gank the lanes that have melee champions. And then when you transform, whether you transform to Shadow Assassin or Darken Slayer, both of these come with their own effects and also their own abilities. So for the Shadow Assassin, after Kayn has not taken damage from a champion for 5 seconds, his attacks and abilities deal additional magic damage to enemies for 3 seconds. This is really good for Shadow Assassin Kayn. Again, talking about that one-shot potential, using your third ability to go through walls and then trying to one-shot, dealing as much damage as possible is going to be super important. And then for Darken Slayer, this is where the healing comes in that I talked about during the build. So Kayn heals for 34% of physical damage dealt to champions. The more damage you deal, the more healing that you're going to be able to deal as well. This works really well, especially with your first ability in Darker form and also with your ultimate. But you'll see here how many stacks you have of each form. Underneath the bar at the moment, you can see that I have a full charge of the red form, which is the Darken form, and then I have a little bit of the charge of the blue form. Now, the later that you go on into the game, the more stacks that you'll be able to get from the orbs. Again, as I mentioned, you know, you're going to be gaining stacks through damaging champions, so ganking with Kayn is actually going to be extremely important. Even if you do die a few times, if you get a few stacks towards that Shadow Assassin form, for example, it's going to be very beneficial. So for example, I'm against the Garen, so when I'm damaging the Garen, I'm obviously going to be gaining stacks towards that Darken form, but towards the red form. And then you can see in the base here, when I go back to base, I can actually stand over the Darken form here and go towards that form, and then it will transform into that version. If I want the range form, I have to wait for a little bit longer. Again, you're not going to get any stacks at all by just damaging melee champions. You have to wait until you damage range champions or wait a little bit over time. You do get a little bit of passive orbs, but it's not as much. But again, your main source of getting these orbs is going to be from damaging their different types of champions. For Kayn's first ability, we have Reaping Slash. Now, for each ability, I'm not going to go into too much detail into the different forms. I'll talk about the different forms, but I won't show too much. I'll just stick on the basic form just to give you a basic understanding of how the champion works. But with the first ability, Kayn can dash and deal physical damage, then spin his scythe to deal the same damage again. So he spins twice, doing 2 instances of damage. So this works as 2 stacks, for example, towards Conqueror. Then you have the Darken form, which is the red form. You instead deal a little bit less damage, but you're able to deal percentage bonus damage depending on the target's maximum health. So darkened form, again, really good against the tanks and really good for being able to keep yourself alive. Really important. And you can also deal additional damage to minions and monsters in the jungle. Again, it just kind of focuses on Kayn being a jungler, which he is anyway, so it's nice that he gets a little bit of damage. But as you can see here, you can see the circle here, and you can see how this first ability works is you have the first slash and then you have the second slash. But sometimes you can actually miss the first slash and just damage on the second slash, exactly like that. But if you stand close enough, then you do 2 instances of damage. So you got the first slash and then the second slash afterwards. Now this ability has a bit of range, and you can use this ability over some walls, like over this wall here, for example. You can use it over this wall. You can even use it over this wall as well over here, just by going over the wall here. But one big thing that I want to show you, which is a huge tip when clearing through the jungle, is actually cancelling your first part of the animation with Kayn. Now, if you use your first ability up against the wall just like this, and you don't go over the wall, you actually cancel the first part of Kayn's ability. So that means that you can actually use this ability much quicker. You look at the difference there. Look how quickly I'm using my first ability there by just going up against the wall. Compare that to how slow this ability is without putting it up against the wall. So it's really important when clearing through the jungle that you use this to your advantage and just use your first ability up against the wall like this. This will honestly increase your clear speed by about 5 to 10 seconds in your first clear speed, and it's going to be incredibly important later on when you're looking to try and clear through the jungle and get as much gold as possible. Blade's Reach is Kayn's second ability. Kayn swipes the scythe upwards, dealing physical damage and slowing enemy champions by a decaying amount for 1.5 seconds. Now, depending on what form you go for, Kayn will also gain extra benefits towards his second ability. For example, Shadow Assassin Blue Form Kayn can move whilst using this ability, so whilst using his second ability, and also the range is increased, so you're able to slow enemy champions and move at the same time, and also you have extra range as well, so you can actually slow enemy champions from further away. Really good for being able to get close and personal to enemy champions with this one-shot Shadow Assassin Kayn build. And then for the Darkened Slayer, the red build, it allows you to additionally knock up champions for 1 second, and this can actually knock up multiple champions at the same time. You can see here, this is the basic range of Kayn's second ability. You can see here that it just takes a little while for you to actually use the ability, and as you can see in base form, you can't move at all, you can't do anything as you're using the ability. You can see as I'm trying to use the ability, I can't move at all. But again, you'll be able to move when you have the Shadow Assassin form, the blue form, which means you can easily use your third ability and also your second ability at the same time and still move across the wall. And then the red version, you can just knock up enemy champions when you use this ability. So when you use this ability, you can knock them up and you can get a lot of crowd control. This allows you to easily hit your other abilities like your first ability or even auto attack afterwards. So again, it kind of depends on what sort of form and what sort of playstyle you want to do for Kayn. For Kayn's third ability, we have Shadow Step, which allows Kayn to gain movement speed and can also pass through terrain for 6.5 seconds. Kayn can also restore health as well upon entering the terrain for the first time. Then being immobilized or spending more than 1 second outside of the terrain means that you won't be able to enter back into the terrain, and this ability will end early. Now, this is a really big thing for Kayn that you have to bear in mind throughout the game. So when you enter the terrain with your third ability, you have a little bit of time. You kind of have to count in your head because there's no real indicator, but by the time that you actually use this, then you're going to jump out. You know, you're not going to be able to stay in here forever. You will eventually have to jump out. You can see the little trigger there around the ability. That's your trigger there around the ability icon. That's your trigger with how long you can stay in that wall. However, if you stay outside the wall, so say for example, if I was to go into the wall and then step out of the wall, there's going to be a little white ring underneath you, and that's how long you have until you reach the next terrain or the ability will stop. So one thing you can do is use your third ability, for example, through this terrain, and then quickly get to the second terrain by using your other abilities. This is a great way to extend your duration of your third ability and to get from one wall to the other so it actually doesn't cancel out. Obviously, you can't use this on every single wall because it's a bit too far away. For example, like going from here to here, a little bit too far away and I'm not able to reach the other wall. However, it's really good when terrains are really close to each other. You can quickly use the abilities and run from one wall to the other. As is mentioned, the big thing is that when you're walking through the terrain, keep an eye on your ability icon so you know when you're going to jump out of terrain because you don't want to get caught, and also keep an eye on that white circle in the middle as well. That's going to show you how long you have left of the ability. However, you can use this ability and just not go into terrain at all. You just gain the extra movement speed. This can be really good for just quickly engaging or even just running away from enemy champions. You still gain that little bit of burst of extra movement speed, which is actually going to be up to 75% when you play blue Kayn. So 75% movement speed instead, and you also become immune to slows, is so huge for Shadow Assassin Kayn. You know, them slows can be super annoying, so you using this ability becomes immune to slows. Then you can also gain up to 75% bonus movement speed. Whether you're looking to engage on enemy champions with the bonus movement speed or even escape as well, you can use this in so many different ways. It's absolutely great. I mean, another way you can do it as well if you want to escape enemy champions is use your third ability and then flash to quickly go through the terrain, so you can jump over here, and as you can see, it's going to last long enough for me to go all the way back here if I really want to. There's so many different ways to use Kayn's third ability, and absolutely great. It doesn't give you any bonuses in darkened form, but as I mentioned, with that Shadow Assassin blue Kayn, getting that bonus movement speed will be so crucial for his playstyle. And lastly for Kayn, we have Umbral Trespass, which is his ultimate. Kayn can infest an enemy champion for 2.5 seconds, becoming untargetable, and when the infestation ends, so basically when he goes inside of the body, when that ends, the target is dealt physical damage. You can also recast this ability early on if you want to. Really simple ability. The big thing about Wild Rift is that you don't actually need to damage an enemy champion with your other abilities to be able to use your ultimate. You can use this ultimate at any time on any champion without even dealing damage to them. For example, this Garen, I can just press the ultimate and I can just go inside Garen straight away, and you can see here that I'm able to jump back out straight away. Now when you use your ultimate, you want to actually make sure that you bear in mind what direction you're going to jump into, because when you jump into the ultimate, you could decide which way you jump out, and this could actually be really big, whether you're near to a wall or whether you're really close to enemy champions or far away from enemy champions. You deciding which way you're going to jump out of your ultimate could be crucial, because I can use something like this and I can escape here by using my third ability and also my first ability, or I can engage even more. I can use my ultimate to jump in and then jump out and then just do more damage with my other abilities. Many different ways in which you can use your ultimate. Again, there are two different forms with Shadow Assassin and also Darken Slayer. Shadow Assassin, this ability range is increased, so you can use this from further away, and also it refreshes the Darken Scythe cooldown on exit, so you can use that again to be able to, you know, be able to jump out, deal an extra bit of damage from the Shadow Assassin form. So you basically go in with your combo with Kayn with Shadow Assassin, use all your abilities, then use your ultimate, reset the passive, and then use your abilities again. That's how quick and that's how easy it is to play Shadow Assassin Kayn, and that is enough to just one-shot enemy champions so quickly. I mean, you probably don't even need the ultimate because his other abilities are going to do enough damage, but that's a great way to use his passive and also his ultimate to his advantage. Whereas with Darken Slayer, the red form Kayn, you actually want to make sure that you use your ultimate when you are low on HP. Now, you're going to deal a percentage of the target's maximum health as physical damage, but also Kayn heals for a percentage of the target's maximum health. So when you're really low on health, you can use your ultimate and then go back to potentially half or even full HP when you jump out again. And a lot of players get really surprised when this happens, which means you can stay in the fight longer, you can use your other abilities to heal up even more, or even your second ability to be able to crowd control even more as well. So again, two different playstyles, two different types of ultimates. Now for the combos, this combo can work on both Shadow Assassin or Darken Kayn. Doesn't really matter which one you go for, both of these will work with this combo. So with this combo, most of the time when you start playing with Kayn and when you engage with Kayn, you are going to use your third ability because you are going to jump through walls. But what you want to actually do is auto attack first to get that little bit of extra damage down. For Shadow Assassin, this would be really good for the slow for Dustblade. So you go in, use your third ability, auto attack, second ability into your first ability, and then you can ultimate afterwards, jump back out again and use your other abilities and your auto attacks. Now when you're playing Darkened form, you can use your third ability and then use your second ability to knock up first, and then use a few auto attacks afterwards. Because your knock up is going to basically secure that you are able to get closer to them with your first ability and deal extra damage with your first ability. That is also another great option. But for Shadow Assassin, you want to auto attack first for the Duskblade proc, then be able to use your other abilities between that 5-second period that you have. Remember, with your passive with Shadow Assassin, you got 5 seconds to do that extra little bit of magic damage. Then use your ultimate, reset your passive, and then jump back out again. You can see here with the 0-second cooldown taken off, you know, I can use my third ability, auto attack, second ability, and then into my first ability, auto attack a few times, use my ultimate, stay in there for a long amount of time. Again, I can jump out and deal extra damage again. And then if I auto attack a few times, all the rest of my abilities come up. But to be honest with you, as I mentioned, with Shadow Assassin Kayn, you're probably just going to one-shot them with one combo, and you never need to use that second combo anyway. So as long as you got the basic combo down, which is jumping in with your third ability and using all your other abilities, then you'll be totally fine when you play Kayn. Now take a look at the leveling order with Kayn. At level 1, when clearing through the jungle, you always want to go for your first ability. And the main reason being is that little tip that I told you with your first ability. You being able to cancel the first part of this ability means that you'll be able to clear the jungle so much quicker. So using this ability, use it up against the walls, cancel that first part of the animation, but you can still do 2 instances of damage, so it makes your jungle clear a lot quicker. Level 2, you want to go for your second ability, making sure that you deal the extra bit of damage from also your other ability. And then at level 3, I actually like to put 2 points into my first ability, because my third ability doesn't really deal too much and do too much in the early game. When I'm clearing through the jungle, I know I'm at least going to be level 4, so putting 2 points in my first ability, putting 2 points in that first ability means that I can deal a little bit of extra damage and clear through the jungle quicker. Then I have obviously level up my third ability at this point, because I'm going to be trying to contest scuttle crabs and doing all that stuff around the jungle. Then leveling up my ultimate when possible. Then after that, we want to make sure that we max our first ability, because it's going to deal the most amount of damage with our combo. Then for our second max, there's going to be no surprise, it's going to be our second ability, and then our third ability is going to be our last maximum ability. We want to make sure that we just level up the abilities that allow us to deal the most amount of damage as possible for our first ability and also our second ability. And then after that, our third ability can just come in handy a little bit later on. But hopefully you'll learn a thing or two about the champion and more about the abilities. I'm going to head into a gameplay now where I'm going to be playing Shadow Assassin Kayn. So you'll be able to see in a little bit more detail what Shadow Assassin Kayn is all about. So I'll see you all in just a second. All right, here we go on to the gameplay with Kayn. Starting things off with style. I have to admit that this game is a bit of a fiesta. It took me a little time to get online in this game, but I wanted to show you this game because I wanted to show you the strong parts about Blue Assassin Kayn, but also the bad parts potentially about Blue Assassin Kayn as well. You know, there's kind of 2 sides of Kayn. You know, there's a side that you can try and one shot and you can do a lot of damage, but again, you are very squishy and you will take a lot of damage, so you do need to be very, very careful when playing Kayn. Doesn't matter whether you're going for, you know, blue Kayn or even red Kayn can be extremely squishy as well. But I know that this game I want to go for Shadow Assassin Kayn, since they have a lot of squishy champions, you know, Jace, Master Yi, and then Draven Lux in the bot lane. So my main purpose right now is to try and gank either the bot lane or the mid lane. You know, Jace can turn into range form and I can easily get stacks towards my blue form for mid, or I can just gank bot lane as well. That's also another great way in which I can get stacks. So this is why I kind of adapted my jungle pathing. I would normally suggest to go for red side clear, since the extra damage is going to help you out quite a bit. But instead, I was like, okay, I need to make sure that I gank bot lane this game. So instead, I'm actually going to make sure that I path from top side all the way down to bot side and try and look for a bot lane gank afterwards, once I've done my full clear. Obviously, you can see as I'm doing the clear, I'm making sure that I use my first ability to try and get to the next camp as quick as possible. So when I'm using my first ability, I'm making sure that I dash towards the next camp that I'm going to go towards, except for that instance, for example. That was like the only camp that I didn't go towards. I didn't do the double Q buff clear this game. I think I was just testing out some different, like, you know, clears at this time of the game. But now you can see I'm level 4 and I'm already looking for a gank in bot lane. I see that they're extremely low on health. I'm only level 4 though, so it is a It's a very risky gank. You can see here, I'm trying to just do a little bit of poke damage and trying to get as many stacks as possible. I'm just waiting for the minions to come. I saw Misfortune do a lot of damage. Like, this is go time for me. This is where I need to try and engage. I keep my flash, use my second ability, and I get the kill onto Kayn. Now, you could say that's probably a bad play. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that bad because I actually denied the stacks for Draven. I killed Draven before he killed me, so I actually denied some of the stacks that Draven was going to get from getting a kill, which is pretty good. And as you can see, I got some of my blue bar as well. And I feel like sometimes that's what you need to do with Kayn, is kind of trade your life. Well, maybe not trade your life every single time, but kind of make sure that you get your stacks as quick as possible. You know, in this instance, I'm going for the blue orbs. I want to get my blue orbs quick as possible and get my form as quick as possible as well. Whether that's, you know, trying to, you know, dive underneath tower and do a little bit of damage, because I know after the point where I get Shadow Assassin Kayn, I know I'm probably going to be one of the strongest champions in the game. So that's what I want to try and do. As I mentioned, I'm going to go for Gluttonous Greaves. You can also go for the Boots of Dynamism as well. That's also another way that you can go about it if you really, really want to. But I personally, you know, don't really like it. I had to go for the extra healing with the Gluttonous Greaves. I can see the Master Yi here. I'm not going to do anything too crazy just yet. The thing is with Kayn is that he is very weak before he gets his form. That's also another big thing. So you can't really contest Scuttle Crabs early on. You know, even against the Master Yi, I will lose that 1v1 against Master Yi probably every single time. I don't have the damage yet. I don't have the form. But once I get my form, that's really when it comes online. Obviously, the later the game goes, the more I'm going to be able to get towards my form. As you can see, for the moment, I'm just trying to farm up. I'm waiting for the right ganking opportunity. You know, Aurelion Sol's pushing mid. Again, I'm trying to look towards this bot lane. I'm trying to see if I can try and get a gank off in this bot lane. I see the Draven completely exposed here. I'm just going to try and do as much damage to this Draven as possible. Brilliant Misfortune ulti as well. And we're able to get a lot of stacks and a quick kill. And this is all because I wanted to focus the bot lane. And you can see that I'm nearly at my evolve already. And when I can get my evolve, I can then start to run around the map and do so much damage. It's crazy when you see how much damage this form can do. Again, really good gank. We're able to gank onto the Draven, get a kill there onto the Draven. So now we can just go back to farming for now. I've got my full bot side jungle to clear. I think this is one thing that I would want everyone to kind of bear in mind when they're playing jungle, is that you want to make sure that you gank, of course, but you also want to make sure that your jungle camps are not up for too long. If you know that you have a lot of jungle camps up and available, try and take them as quick as possible, because the extra gold that you get from jungle camps is just so important. See here, level 8 already. I'm level 8 already, which is insane. I'm high level than my Baron laner. I got really unlucky here, to be fair. I was looking... I was looking top lane, right? Because I was looking at the fight top lane. I was like, yeah, I can go back in this bush. I'm completely fine. Not knowing that the bot lane actually had vision, which is kind of my fault because I should be buying Oracle Lens here. For some reason, I still have the warning totem. I should be getting Oracle Lens here to try and make sure that I clear vision around the map. That's kind of the big downside that I have really in this game, and a big mistake that I had in this game is that I don't have that. I think the best case scenario there was probably just to use my ultimate and just, you know, deal as much damage as possible and get my form, because I could have had my form at this point. I definitely could have had my form at this point. This Master Yi takes me extremely low, by the way. I'm not too sure what the Master Yi was thinking, but we got out in the end anyway. We got the Rift Herald, we got out in the end, so I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain, and I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to yeet out of there with the Rift Herald. I think I could have got my form. I think if I ultimate the Draven, the problem is I got stunned by Lux. The big thing is that when you get stunned by like a Lux or rooted by a Lux, you can't use your ultimate, which is really annoying. You can see here, I'm going to use my Rift Herald bot lane because I know that the bot lane tower is extremely low. And I'm going to try and move towards the dragon. But unfortunately, the Ornn is here, so it's a little bit difficult. I know that the Ornn, I saw the Ornn bot side. I am trying to look for another gank here. You can see the Ornn ultimate comes out. I can't really do too much here, so all I'm going to do here is just dash forward, trying to do as much damage to Sona as possible. I'm not going to get anything from it, unfortunately, because my Misfortune and like Senna were pretty much playing too passive. I thought we could have honestly got more there with my damage, but it's kind of one of them high risk, high reward scenarios where I can try and look for damage, but since I don't have the form, I can't do enough. I could have maybe gone for Dragon, but, you know, Aurelion Sol was mid. Dr. Mundo was also mid as well. So I didn't really have any priority around the Dragon to even take it. But it's completely fine. As you can see, I got my form now. 7 minutes is a bit slow. Like, it's a little bit slow. You know, I've been getting forms at like 4 to 5 minutes before. I think I got pretty unlucky this game with like some opportunities that I weren't able to get. But now you're going to see the extra movement speed that I can get in my third ability, me being able to move whilst using my second ability. And this is really where the one shots come in. This is where we can start to do a lot of damage. But again, we are very squishy though, so we do need to be careful at the same time. I'm just clearing through these jungle camps with ease. It feels so good to play Kayn, especially Shadow Assassin blue form Kayn. Being able to clear through the jungle like this just feels so nice. So satisfying. Look how much movement speed I get. So good. Use my ability, just like move at the same time. Feels so satisfying. My Aurelion Sol is a little bit caught. Not too sure what Master Yi is doing there. Trying to make sure that I survive for a little bit longer. Use my second and first ability. Get another kill there. Nice, quick, easy double kill there. You can see as soon as I got the kill onto Master Yi, I went straight into the wall to make sure that I'm not targeted by like Draven or even Lux. Now, there is a way in which enemy champions can see where Kayn is coming from. There is a little bit of an orb. When I next go to a wall, I'll hopefully show you. I'll hopefully be able to pause and show you that when you go through a wall, there's like a little orb which shows you where Kayn is coming from. I don't know if you can actually see it on your side of things, but the enemy champions can see it. You do need to be a little bit careful to make sure that you don't make it too obvious that you're coming out of the wall, because you can still get rooted and you can still get CC chained quite quickly. Dustblade completed. Look at me now. I'm 2 items. I mean, the times that I died this game, you know, the first death, I kind of traded my kill for Draven, which I think was fine. The second death was just unfortunate. I was looking top lane. I was just not looking at the time. And my third death was just me trying to get form as soon as possible. But look at this damage. My God. My damage is so disgusting. Get the extra kill here onto Ornn. Nice little extra double kill there into the top lane. And this is just when Kayn runs away with the game. You're just clearing through jungle. You're dealing as much damage as possible. I'm trying to deal more damage here. I'm going to try and catch out the... You see the Jace there? You see that little orb that came out when I got the Jace? That's what I was talking about by the little orb. I'll quickly go back and hopefully I'll be able to pause it at the right time. Then you can see what I mean by the orb that you can see. So I try and go for a flank here on the Jace. I mean, it's a really good flank. But you see, when I step into the wall here, when Jace steps close enough, this little blue orb here, this will be visible towards enemy champions. So, for example, the Jace knows that I'm going to come here, but to be honest, the Jace has just nowhere else to go, to be honest. So I just one shot. The damage, look at the damage. The Dustblade damage plus the extra damage from the passive as well. It's so disgusting. Like, it's really completely disgusting. So yeah. We're just going to be able to get a few easy kills there. I can invade the jungle as well. Get an extra few kills there. Unfortunately, I think I kind of inted here. Yeah. Unfortunately, kind of inted. I think I still kill him. No, I don't kill him. No, I don't kill him. He escaped. I kind of mistimed my second ability. What I should have done is I should have waited for Master Yi to use his ultimate and then go in with my abilities, because I wasted my second ability and I didn't do any damage to Master Yi, which was a big problem. I try and go for Honey Fruit here, but again, they just have vision on me somehow and I'm just dead again. I mean, again, this is the whole mistake of me not taking Oracle Lens and not clearing out vision. If I just cleared out vision beforehand, I would have been completely fine. I mean, Ornn wouldn't have got vision on me from standing at bush. I was just trying to take the healing to make sure that I keep myself alive. But also I could have gone back there as well. Kind of limit test in a way. My mistake. Yeah, I'm over 2,000 gold ahead at the moment. 2,000 gold ahead at this early point during the game. 10 minutes in the game, we're only 2,000 gold ahead of Master Yi. Nearly 10,000 gold at a 10-minute game. It's nearly 1,000 gold a minute. Which is kind of nuts if you think about it. And that's all because I was clearing through jungle. I took time and to gank lanes that I wanted to gank to make sure I got my form as quick as possible. Again, I probably could have got my form quicker this game, but it's completely fine. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, I guess. I do have to be a bit careful now. I mean, they do have a lot of crowd control. If I was to do also something different this game, I would probably take Quicksilver. But look at my damage here. This damage is so disgusting. just jumps out and I'm just dead straight away. I engage again for some reason here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I think I just got a little bit dizzy. I saw the Jace and I didn't see the Master Yi down the bottom, so I got kind of a little bit dizzy and I kind of died for it. I think the rest of my team is completely fine. Radiant Soul. Oh. Okay. My Radiant Soul nearly got the kill onto Jace, but didn't get it in the end. The Dragon's still up though, so do need to be a little bit careful. Yeah, I mean, my team should be going towards Dragon right now, but Master Yi just kind of takes it for free. If my team just goes towards Dragon there, they can take it for free, but it's also kind of my fault because I died as well at the same time. I shouldn't have died. Look at that score, baby. 5-5 of 5. I told you this was a fiesta, by the way. I think this is a good gameplay to show, again, as I mentioned, the kind of strengths of Kayn, but also how you can be a weakness as well with Kayn. You know, it kind of shows the downside as well, that, you know, you are very squishy with Kayn. You have to make sure that you use the right abilities at the right time. Because if you don't, then you're probably going to die every single time. You can see here, I'm just going to jump onto the Master Yi. Look at my damage. Oh my God. I mean, the only reason he survived so long there is because he used his second ability, heal back up. I go back in again, get another kill. I mean, I didn't finish off the kills, but I was able to help get the kills there. Oh my God. I mean, I definitely did a bit of limit testing this game, I feel like, as well. There should be a kill there onto Lux. No, not going to get the kill there. I think my team do need to be a little bit careful. I think my Felios is dead. Not Felios, sorry. My Radiant Soul is dead. Okay. I definitely am limit testing a bit this game. I definitely am trying to, like, test my damage to see how well I can do with my damage. But sometimes I just go a little bit too far. That's kind of my problem sometimes. Is I stepped a little bit too far and I'm not able to, you know, get the advantage that I want, basically. Dr. Mundo died, unfortunately. He did get the bot lane tower, though, so he did trade his life for the tower bot lane. I think he actually roamed mid in the end as well and actually just tried to kill someone, but he didn't kill anyone in the end. Baron is up. They might be doing Baron right now, which I probably don't realize off the top of my head. I mean, they did kill Dr. Mundo. Honestly, the enemy team could have definitely done Baron. I think I made a misplay with clearing through the bot side of the jungle because we have no vision at all around this Baron in top lane. They could have easily been doing it, but I was like, yep, I'm looking for this kill. This kill is all mine, baby. Look at that damage. You see what I mean? I didn't even have to use ultimates. Like that whole combo that I was talking to you about during this, during the game before, or during the, sorry, the rundown before of the champion. I didn't even need to use my ultimate. Like, that's how crazy this is. I jump in again with my combo. This time I had to use my ultimate. I was going to die to Draven. I'm able to survive. Nearly. I nearly survived the slow. No, I'm not going to be able to do enough. I think if I used Q there instead of slow, I probably would have survived. So close, actually. I actually nearly survived. I think Dr. Mundo should be able to... Oh, my God. Dr. Mundo can definitely bonk him. That is a bonk and a half for Dr. Mundo right there. Bonk. Absolutely disgusting. I think if I use my Q instead of my W, my kind of mindset there was use my second ability to slow the Ornn and also the Lux so I can try and escape. If I use my Q, then maybe I get out of range of the Ornn W. And also get out of range for Lux abilities as well, but hey, hindsight is 50-50, as they say. You live and you learn, as they say. And hopefully you learn a lot as well from this video, because Kayn is a champion that's very, very cool. I mean, I wish I could have like 2 gameplays, like one of red Kayn and one of blue Kayn, but the video will just be too long. I think it's a lot better just to focus on the version of Kayn that is a lot stronger. As I mentioned, you can probably run this same build and the same rune setup. If you want to go for red Kayn, you could just go for like lethality red Kayn. It's not bad. It's also not good, really. I mean, it's decent, to be fair. You'll probably get a lot, you know, a lot better if you're able to get blue form with Assassin Kayn. But you can also go for red form Assassin Kayn as well. Do I actually go for stasis here? I feel like I shouldn't really go for stasis. I do go for stasis here. I guess it's not too bad. Like, it's not the end of the world that I go stasis here, because I can still try and survive for a long amount of time. My team is dead. Oh no, my team's not dead. You're still alive. You see here, I'm looking for the flank straight away. As soon as I get the opportunity, I look for the flank. You can see this, all my damage and everything extra on top of that. This is where I could have used QSS. You see right there? If I use QSS there, it's so good. Stasis, yeah. And then use my ultimate as well straight afterwards. Yeah, that's good. Go back towards the wall, use my third ability. Perfect escape. My God, I even predicted what I was going to do myself. I mean, I don't remember what I did myself. I was able to kind of predict it in the end. I'm trying to catch out the Draven here. You know what? Exhaust is broken. Okay. This exhaust summon spell is just completely broken. I should have killed him there. 100% I should have killed him. He had collector plus he had exhaust. Like, he exhausted me, which basically blocked like 50% of my damage. I was so unlucky there. I really felt like I was actually... I mean, what I probably should have done instead is flash and then use my ability. Look at Dr. Mundo. I mean, I guess he doesn't have exhaust with Dr. Mundo. That's fine, right? What I should have probably done there is flash and then use my abilities. But I used my second ability that missed, if I'm not mistaken. And then I flashed in, which is kind of a big mistake. Actually, I lost out a lot of my damage by missing my second ability. So yeah, what I should have done is flashed and then used my abilities, and I probably would have killed him. But still, exhaust is just completely busted. Like, exhaust blocks so much of my damage there. But Elder Drake's up in 20 seconds. The big thing was, though, that me going for that kill denied them the Elder Drake. Not the Elder Drake, sorry, the Dragon Soul. Because they got 2 dragons already. They couldn't go for the third one, though, which is pretty good. Again, you can see every single time that you play Shadow Assassin Kayn, you're always looking at the minimap. You're always looking around to see where I can find picks, where I can find low health enemy champions. And you'll see here that I saw Lux top lane, and I believe the Lux is going to walk down into this river thing here as well. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Just another great pick off. I mean, when you know the map so well and when you can predict enemies and movements, just like that. Like I saw Lux go into the top lane. I know she's going to go down to the Elder Drake. So it's the perfect timing for me there to do it. Now we are in a 4 versus 5. We do need to be a little bit careful though still, because this 4 versus 5 is still a little bit scary. I'm clearing through the jungle camp. I could go back, but I also don't want to go back at the same time, because if I go back, then I'm going to be in really big trouble if I go back, because my team is fighting, as you can. Okay, that was really weird. For some reason, my recording just crashed for some reason. I had it open. I'm just watching my own gameplay at the moment, but it completely crashed. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, I can't really go back to basics. I know that my team is probably just about to fight, which it looks like they are about to do. You see here, I'm just looking for flanks again. I'm looking for opportunities to try and get onto the enemy backline. I don't really want to start this Elder Drake. I feel like this is a really, really bad idea. I find Master Yi completely exposed, but the rest of my team is just not here. Which is kind of like my fault, to be fair. Do I survive here? I can't remember. I don't think I do. No, Collector gets me. I mean, do we get the Elder Drake? I think we do. Yeah, I mean, we got the Elder Drake, but... The thing is, I didn't want to start Elder Drake, and the whole reason I don't want to start Elder Drake there is that we can easily get CC chained by, like, you know, Lux can jump in, use her abilities, Master Yi can just run us down, Ornn can get a huge ultimate as well, which basically denies me. And I think the big thing you want to do here is just try and get a pick on an enemy champion. I mean, the good thing is I did, you know, take Master Yi low enough that he wasn't able to join back into the fight, which I think was okay in the end. I mean, you can say that I probably went a bit too far by myself, but I was hoping my team would follow up and not do Elder Drake. But I guess even though I'm not supposed to be the distraction as a jungler, it still worked out. Like my team still got Elder Drake for it. Unfortunately, I didn't have Elder Drake. My team still got Elder Drake for it. I think overall it's not that bad. Like I said, this game is so back and forth. It's such a fiesta that I just... At the time, I had no idea who was going to win this game. No idea at all. I was like, how do I win this game? I'm always thinking through my head sometimes, like, how do I win? How am I going to win this game? To be honest, my Dr. Mundo is kind of carrying. My Dr. Mundo is kind of 1v9ing. Now I'm pinging towards Baron. Because this is a free Baron here. We should be doing Baron here. 2 deads. We should be running straight for Baron. My team kind of, yeah, overextended. So my Senna and my Dr. Mundo went a bit too far, unfortunately. Which I guess you could have said the same thing, that I also went a little bit too far with the Elder Drake. But the thing with the Elder Drake is it was a 5 versus 5, right? I didn't want to fight 5 versus 5, you know. Kayn's kind of like Kha'Zix, where he wants to try and find isolated champions. But, you know, when you're in a 5 versus... What was that? That was like a 4 versus 3 or 5 versus 3. when you're in that scenario, yeah, we had 5 alive. We're like 5 versus 3. Dr. Mundo killed 2. As soon as you get that advantage, then you can easily take objectives. Because if they walk towards the objectives, you're going to win every single fight, 5 versus 3. Whereas 5 versus 5 is a bit more of a coin flip. I don't want to coin flip objectives. I want to make sure that we kill off a few champions, and then we go for the objectives afterwards. Which, unfortunately, was not able to happen here. I did a little bit of damage here onto the Draven, which was pretty big. I took Draven to half HP. That was one ability, by the way. I took Draven to half HP. I do see the Master Yi. Now, the enemy team is probably going to play a little bit more aggressive here, which I'm kind of worried about. I need to clear this bot lane wave as well. I'm going to clear this bot lane wave just to make sure they can't push this in. We do still have the Baron buff as well for a few more seconds. Master Yi just goes way too deep here. I'm not too sure what Master Yi is doing. And I dodge the Lux binding, and I find Lux completely exposed. Completely exposed. I find the Draven as well. The Draven tries to stasis my ulti. It doesn't really mean too much because we're still able to do enough damage. And yeah, it's a clean house. That is how annoying Kayn could be to deal with. I went from doing like half of Draven's health with just a little bit of poke to jumping in and out of walls, basically being super annoying. I cleared bot wave in like under 2 seconds. I jumped onto Draven again, and then Draven was dead. Like, he had to use stasis way too early there. This is pretty much the end of the game. Like I said, it was an absolute fiesta of a game. Like, this game was super back and forth. I wanted to show you this gameplay because, again, it shows that you can make some mistakes with Kayn, but also you can also make really good plays with Kayn as well, you know, with one-shot potentials and that being extremely good. But again, it kind of completely depends on the situation of the game. 11, 9, and 10 in the end. I had 21,000 gold. I mean, the big problem for me was the Draven. The Draven was kind of one-shotting me every single time. But 21,000 gold is a little bit insane. 45,000 damage. I mean, look at that Dr. Mundo damage as well. 59,000 damage. Yeah, in the end, 45,000 damage. Blue Assassin Kayn, definitely the way to go. As I said before, hopefully you learned a thing or two from this video. And as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what you think of Kayn. And I'll see you all in the next Wild Rift Guide. Peace.